So welcome back to Blake's Takes, everyone. And today we're going to be reviewing Morbius, which is kind of creating a lot of buzz, but not for the right reasons lately.
Yeah, I mean, everyone saw the reviews for this movie.
Yes.
And, once we heard that Sony was like pulling out with the MCU and everything, we kind of expected this to go to shit.
Yeah.
The reviews were also not good.
No, not at all.
Before this even came out in theaters, if you looked on Rotten Tomatoes, Metacritic, everything was just saying this is going to be a shit show.
Correct. And it's currently at a 16%, which off of the movies that have come out lately, especially the comic book movies, that's like very, very low. Even for the bad movies, that's low.
That's dropping the ball big time. However, I see a 16%. I'm expecting this movie to be laughably bad.
Yes.
And I go in there and I keep expecting to laugh at how bad this movie is. And it never really happened.
Yes. All right. So before we dive into how this movie was, let's start from the beginning. So it's 2022, right?
Yeah.
This film wrapped up filming in 2019. Its release has been delayed a total of 6 times. No lie.
Jesus.
So first, it was supposed to release in July 2020. Then they pushed it back a few more weeks. Obviously, that was the height of the pandemic. And then it got pushed back to March 19th of 2021. All right. Then they pushed it back again to October 8th, 2021, which honestly, that kind of would have fit the tone of the movie, coming out near Halloween and having more of a horror tone to it.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked out really good. Once you see the movie, there are obvious reasons why they did push it back even more, and then they pushed it back to January 21st, 2022, which that would have also been a good time because it kind of would have rode the wave of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yes.
All right. So that didn't work out. Then they pushed it to April 1st. How ironic that they actually decided to release it on April Fool's Day.
Oh, I know.
I mean, because, what a joke.
Yeah, this movie was just a prank on the world.
Yeah. Even as an actor, like imagine filming a movie and you don't get to see your own film for even a director, bro, you direct this film and you don't get to see it for 3 years.
That's insane.
That's gotta be exhausting.
That's gotta be frustrating.
Right?
I'd be so frustrated.
So I can understand like everyone who worked on this project. I could see their frustration with this project already.
I feel like it being pushed back so many times gave them too much time to edit this movie and cut shit out and rethink it. Like the more you don't want to rethink things too much, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if this did come out at the original release time, the movie possibly could have been better. Over that time is like when they were rethinking their partnership with Marvel.
Yeah.
Or with Disney, I mean. And they eventually, backed out. And now they cut like how many hours did they cut? Did they cut like a full hour off this movie?
I have no idea, to be honest. But you can tell that a lot of cutting went into it.
Yeah.
So let's start at the plot. Honestly, the plot was pretty narrow. Like it knew what it wanted to do. I've been comparing it to the first Venom because they're both in the Sony Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, both and both solo films.
Yeah, both solo films, both introduction films to those characters. And it honestly had a more narrow plot, like more than Venom. It knew what it wanted to do.
I think the plot was like honestly it was definitely stronger than Venom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean, it was just straightforward. And at least this plot, had a second act. In the first Venom movie, there was no second act to that movie. It was just first act, introduction to Venom. Boom. Okay, here's the third act, and he's already fighting the bad guy. Like we got all the introductions of characters. And then we were just at the final battle.
Yeah.
And that was just the problem with all these like Sony movies just being so short.
No, I know. And, this one was still another short movie, but at least they managed to work in like that middle aspect.
Yeah.
And like, once he got his powers, like we saw him like testing his abilities and stuff like that. So that was good to see too before a villain was even like introduced.
Right. So yeah, the character Morbius, first introduced into the Spider-Man comics in 1971. So Sony, who has the right to Spider-Man.
And all of his villains.
Yeah, and all of his villains. So clearly they have the rights to Morbius. you could do a lot of things with his character within the comic universe because he has his hand kind of dipped into a lot of other characters.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's a living vampire, and there's a Marvel vampire hunter that
Blade.
exists. Blade, right there.
Yeah,
There's an easy connection right there.
Morbius gave Blade his powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, boom.
So, I mean, who knows? Maybe who knows what they're working with Blade too?
No idea.
Because we do know Blade is supposed to come into the MCU very soon.
We do know that after, with the end credit scene for Eternals.
Yep. Basically, the plot of this film, Dr. Michael Morbius has this rare blood disease. He just wants to find a cure.
Yep.
And he is experimenting with bat blood. He ends up curing his disease, but having, not so great effects to it.
Yeah, I mean, so now he gets all he has to do, honestly, like all he has to do to stay in like prime condition is now drink blood. He used to have to get like blood they would like clean his blood 3 times a day, which is ridiculous, and he would still be in like this crippled state. So like the answer to his solution was blood.
Yeah.
But now he just has to keep drinking it.
Yep. And after, he sees these effects, he wants to keep this cure away from anyone now because honestly, he feels guilty about what he's become.
Well, yeah, I mean, you turn yourself into a blood-sucking vampire, and you can't, it's like a drug addict. You can't control yourself.
I mean, you got to survive.
You have to, yeah. And if you're put in a desperate situation, and you have the abilities that Morbius has, you're gonna do anything to, feed that hunger.
Yeah.
And so, to the point where he will kill people.
Yeah.
And, he's a good person, and he doesn't want to turn people into this blood-sucking vampire, even if it means curing this disease that he's been trying so hard to cure.
Right. Because even in the comics, you see that he feels guilty whenever he does drink someone's blood to survive.
Yeah.
Afterwards, he feels guilt.
Back to this having a strong plot, though. Like, I thought the plot was very strong. It was simple. Honestly, when you have a simple plot, it's easy to keep it strong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not throwing too many aspects in there. Like, it was very simple. Has a disease, wants to cure it, doesn't like what the cure does, but he's not okay with the repercussions.
Yeah.
But his friend doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. Because his friend just wants to be cured.
Yeah, he just he saw the results of what it did to Morbius, and he was like, I don't care if I become a blood-sucking vampire. Are you kidding me? If I could have superpowers, I'm taking it. I don't care about any of these repercussions.
Yep.
And, Morbius being the good person that he is, doesn't want his friend to have that, but like I said, doesn't care. Took it anyway. And now we have someone who has the same powers as Morbius, but with none of the conscience.
And that's a good point you bring up, too, about the plot being simple, because I feel like this was a very 2000s Marvel superhero movie. Like the Hulks, the Ghost Riders, those type of movies, even though they weren't the best, like they're not good movies, but they're very simple.
Yeah, but I'm glad that they established a connection between him and the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like that's what was good, and that's what at least like somewhat connected you to this battle and like how it actually had meaning to the characters. Cuz if you just like whenever you have like a big bad guy come out of nowhere and like just there's no reason for them to be fighting, really. It's just there.
Yeah.
So comparing this to Venom again, Riot was just like all about world domination. It's just this like grand scheme, and it wasn't even really a scheme. He was just gonna go like back and get the rest of the symbiotes and like come back and take over the world. And Venom's like, no, I like this world now. We never really had any real connection with Riot, and it's kind of hard to do that when it's a raging monster.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, Riot could still like talk.
Yeah.
And so there was a chance for like Riot character development.
Well, that's the thing too, is that they didn't give us any of that character development.
Yeah.
Like we were just introduced to this bad guy and here's the final battle.
Yeah, that's
it.
As
to where in Morbius, at least we did like start to know, the character of Milo.
Yeah.
Played by Matt Smith, which the way Matt Smith looks just really fits a vampire look as well.
No, it does. Like I saw him and I was like, okay, this actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So yeah, but at least we got to get to know his character.
Yeah,
before that final battle happened.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they established these connections.
Yes.
And that's what I feel like made it work better than Venom.
Yes. We saw that little bit of rage from Milo in the very beginning when they showed that scene, that flashback when they were kids.
Yeah, and
now, granted, he was getting picked on,
yeah,
and he was just using self-defense.
Very justified.
Yes.
And it also, now that I think about it, it actually shows why he wants to get rid of this disease so bad. Is because it's just like haunted him his whole life. Not to like the whole immobility thing. Like that's obviously a huge motivation, but also him as a child getting picked on for it. Who likes getting picked on?
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, if I get this cure, I become a blood-sucking vampire, but nobody's ever gonna fuck with me again.
Now we can keep talking about the positives. Let's move on to Jared Leto, because I don't really like Jared Leto, but I do think he was a positive for this film. Like, he did a fine job.
Yeah, he did. And I mean, he is a good actor. Like me personally, like you said, I'm not a personal Jared Leto fan either.
Yeah.
But he is a good actor.
He is.
Like he has ability. And
I think that's what sucks is that he's a very talented person. He's got to have some deal with the devil because he looks too damn young for his age. He's too talented.
Yeah.
He's too weird. Like,
he just keeps getting fucked.
With his movies, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, bro, he is just picking the wrong franchises.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, you know what? DC sucked. Let me go to Marvel.
Yeah.
Now he's in a Marvel movie, and he still got fucked with Marvel because it was Sony.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this poor guy.
I know. Yeah, he is a talented dude. Shit just does not keep going his way when it comes to movies, at least.
No, it does not. Nobody really has anything super positive to say about his roles in both DC or now Marvel.
It's funny, too, because, his character, Michael Morbius, is a nice guy. He just wants to help people out. Played by Jared Leto, who's kind of just a dick. I mean, do you remember when Suicide Squad, when Suicide Squad was doing promotions?
Yeah.
And he was going on talk show host, and there was rumors about him, sending cast members use condoms and snakes like that.
Yes.
That wasn't even true. Those were rumors, and you know who came up with those rumors? Jared Leto himself.
What the fuck?
Just because he wanted this, he's just a weird guy, bro.
That's so weird.
Yes.
I think he was trying to copy like what Heath Ledger did to like create that edgy Joker that he did, because Heath Ledger legit, I'm pretty sure it was like 6 weeks he locked himself in a hotel room.
He isolated himself
and just like only worked on his character of Joker. Like that's some legit shit right there.
Yes.
And getting into some method acting. And I think he just wanted to portray that kind of edginess. And he's like, I put all this dedication into my Joker too.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to take the method route without having to go the method route.
Yeah, no, he just wanted to give the appearance that he put this much work into it.
So yeah, like I said, overall, when it comes to Jared Leto, not the biggest fan, but he did a fine, he really does look like Morbius in the comics.
Yeah. So yeah, you were right. He did kind of look like Morbius in the comics. Like especially, with the CGI, obviously.
Yeah.
I thought the representation was pretty good.
It was pretty accurate.
Yeah, it was accurate.
Yeah.
But let's talk about those weird ears.
The ears?
The ears.
Okay.
I mean, I like what they did with the echolocation and everything. Like, made sense with bats and everything.
Yeah.
I was just not, and like even like in the world, like how they had it look like smoke or whatever. I thought that was kind of cool. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Bro, but those ears were fucking gross.
Well, you know what it reminded me of? Is those, boxers and UFC fighters, their ears build up like this callus from getting hit in the head so much.
Really?
I don't know if you've ever looked at it, but go look up pictures of UFC fighters.
Nah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And their ears are like all jacked up.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
Bro, they just looked so weird, and then they would like move.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I didn't mind it. I think it made sense.
It made sense, but I thought it was an unnecessary gross detail that they did with the CGI.
All right, now moving on to Matt Smith, who plays Lucius Crown, or as Morbius gives him his nickname, Milo, in the movie. Kind of becomes his brother. Yeah. At a young age. And because they both have the same rare blood disease. Both
brother in arms fighting against this same disease.
Yeah, so basically the whole movie, they keep saying, it's us versus the world.
Yeah.
And like we were saying before, his character was fine as well. They established you know, his attributes in the beginning.
Who he was
Yep.
to Morbius.
hmm And his frustration with Morbius once he cured himself. He's like, okay, where's some for me now? Because I've been dealing with the same shit my whole life now. I'm in pain every single day. I want this pain to be gone.
Yeah.
Give me what you have. I don't care, you know, the consequences of it, you know, which makes a lot of sense for his character too, after someone who's been in pain every single day of their life.
Yeah, no. If you were in that much excruciating pain like every single day, and you could finally get rid of it, you'd be pretty desperate for that cure. And then you know, when Morbius denies it, he's thinking like, oh, so you can, you know, like you can cure yourself, but you're not gonna cure me. Like you don't care because you're already cured.
Exactly. So now he's just thinking that he's being selfish.
Yeah. But really, it's, you know, he's actually being selfless because he doesn't want this kind of cure floating around. And he doesn't want vampires going around.
Yeah. But yeah, that does set up a pretty good, you know, villain arc for the story.
Yeah.
And then you have a pretty big name in this film, Tyrese Gibson, who doesn't really do shit. He probably gets like 2 minutes of screen time. Quick story about Tyrese Gibson in this film, actually. It was pretty funny. I saw it going around the internet. So someone had put out, it was totally fake, but someone had put out of Martin Scorsese standing in front of a Morbius like premiere poster, you know, calling it like the peak of cinema, which we all know Martin Scorsese's take on superhero movies, you know.
Yeah.
He thinks they're a joke and that it's like a roller coaster ride. Which, I mean, roller coaster rides are fun.
Yeah, they are.
Anyways.
Fuck you, Martin.
He doesn't like them at all. And someone had put out that Martin Scorsese said that this was the peak of cinema. Tyrese Gibson bought that shit and posted on his Instagram, wow, can't believe Martin Scorsese, you know, gave us this compliment.
Oh, God.
And I just feel like that fits Tyrese Gibson and like his decisions the last few years, or like all the memes that he's been the last few years.
Poor guy.
I know. It seems like they cut a lot of his lines too, because honestly, a lot of what was in the trailer kind of wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see how they cut back on like the cops in this story in general, because there was like, it seemed like they were in a solid amount of scenes, but just like no screen time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that I feel like some of their scenes is definitely what they cut out the most. They're like, okay, we don't really need these detectives figuring this out.
Yeah, because it escalated pretty quickly of how these cops were able to figure out what was going on.
Yeah.
There wasn't much time to that aspect of it.
No, there was not.
I don't know. You could just tell that they did a lot of cutting, which Sony always does a lot of cutting.
I don't know why they do that.
I don't know why.
Like, honestly, look at some of the most successful MCU movies that have been done.
Yeah.
Like, how long was I mean, I know Endgame was 3 hours, but how long was Infinity War?
Infinity War was 2.5 hours.
2.5.
Yeah.
So there you go. Like,
I mean,
you know,
even an extra 15 minutes can do a lot for a film.
it can. But honestly, I feel like this movie could have been like maybe 30 minutes longer, and I would have been fine with that. Like,
yeah, I mean,
at no point was I like looking at the clock like, let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, no, because it was only an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Venom was only an hour and a half.
Seriously. I'm like, dude, you guys want to develop these characters and have your own little universe. Take the time to do that. Stop cutting all their scenes, because I'm sure you're cutting valuable content that we'd want to see.
Yeah, even making it 2 hours would have just been fine, because honestly, if anyone's seen the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, in my opinion, it made it a lot better. Like, it ties up some plot holes and makes a lot more sense.
It does, but I feel like they just keep thinking like, oh, nobody's going to want to see this long movie, da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, dude, like, we want to see. We want to see more of the characters that we love, just as long as you don't butcher them.
Yeah.
Like I said though, about I was expecting this to be laughably bad.
Yeah.
There was only one scene that made me think it was like laughably bad, and it was when he was like, "You wouldn't like me when I'm hungry."
I thought it was funny because it was kind of just taking a stab at Hulk, maybe even a stab at the MCU. To be honest, because if anyone remembers, Hulk does actually say that in the Incredible Hulk. The 2008 Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton's character, when he's living in Brazil, he says in Spanish, "You won't like me when I'm hungry."
Yeah.
So, I mean, there could have been a lot of reasons behind why they put that line in there. I thought it was pretty funny.
I don't know.
But I can see where it would be cringe, because if that line didn't exist, you know, in the Incredible Hulk, then okay, yeah, I could see that. There's no need for that. That was pretty cringe.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a nod to the Hulk,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about a decent amount of positives that we liked, but another flaw that I want to bring up is the score. Now, I thought the score was all over the place and it didn't know what tone it wanted.
Yeah.
So if anyone's been listening to this channel, everyone knows how much a score means to me in a film and how much of a difference it can make. And what pissed me off the most was the scenes when the score literally sounded like Christopher Nolan's Batman.
Dude, it was the exact same.
Literally the exact same.
Like, it was like the that exact thing.
It was the brass instruments, raising up in tone.
Dude, the exact same thing. I leaned over to you in the movie and I'm like, this sounds exactly like The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Exactly like it.
It's funny because our friend who I was sitting next to, he was passing down a message from our other friend that his wife had fallen asleep. And Berto told me that it didn't even register with me. And I just immediately passed down another message. This sounds like The Dark Knight. Which it really did because, oh my God, not only did it sound like it, but the scenes resembled it as well.
With the bats.
Yes. With the bats. He's standing in like his experimental tube with all the bats that he keeps in his laboratory.
Yes.
He goes into that and it's just this low shot, this
of them like flying up. And it's literally the exact same thing as the stairwell shot with Commissioner Gordon. Yeah, I know when he dropped the sound beacon down the freaking stairs. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it's just a slow panning shot up. To give it more of a heroic look.
Dude,
it was just, I was like, bruh, this is Christopher Nolan's Batman right here. Like, what the fuck?
I know. I thought that was extremely unoriginal and cheap. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
And it didn't just happen once. It happened multiple times in the film.
It was not just that one time. I noticed it on multiple occasions. I'm like, stop stealing Batman.
Yes. Why is this Batman? This is Morbius.
I mean, they're both bats, but still.
So with the score being all over the place, couldn't really find a tone for the movie. One other thing that I think it could have done to make this film better is honestly maybe go even more of a horror movie route.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, this is a scary character.
Yeah.
I think the scariest scene that we did get to see was probably in the beginning when he first got his powers and like killed everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's pretty frightening sight.
Well, not only that, the hallway scene when he's at the hospital and that nurse dies, that whole scene was just horror-esque.
Yeah.
You had the illuminating hallway, the lights flickering.
Yeah.
This long, narrow shot.
Yeah. That all screamed horror.
It did.
And we could have used like a good jump scare.
There was a good jump scare in that scene, but I feel like this movie could have used even more jump scares. Like, you really could have went the full horror route if you wanted to with this movie.
Definitely.
It's a vampire.
I think it would have been a positive if they did do that.
It could have worked out really well.
Yeah.
Especially if seems like Sony is creating more of this darker toned universe in the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, so far we got Venom, and with Venom includes Carnage
yeah.
and Riot, and Carnage is like one of the scariest characters in Marvel. And
terrifying villain.
And Morbius is also another terrifying villain. It's like, take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going for this darker universe, like, I mean, I know they don't want to do it, but shit, even give us a rated R version. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if they wanted to commit to the horror route and go R, I feel like that'd be really cool. It's just not. They're not gonna do it because
not the cars. That's asking for a lot because hey, they're trying to make money too.
Yeah, they're trying to make money, and it's hard to make money with a rated R superhero film.
Yeah.
But, bro, Deadpool has shown us it's possible.
Bro, not even Deadpool, even just
Logan. But that was a well-established character.
It was. Watchmen.
Yeah. Another good movie.
Even recently, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
That was a rated R version of Justice League.
Dude, I'm telling you, like, it is possible to make good movies. And, I think, like, people understand, like, even if it is rated R, if it's a good movie, you're gonna get more money from it.
Yes.
Like, stop trying to baby proof it.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it sucks that like there's all these younger kids who want to see this movie that aren't going to be able to because it is rated R. But I feel like Marvel is so established in the world at this point that it doesn't matter. Like there's a lot of adult viewers as well as younger viewers.
Well, yes, Marvel is established, but Sony's really not. Sony is established. Obviously, we all know Sony, but when it comes to superhero movies, they're notoriously bad.
Yes, I know.
Everyone knows that they're bad.
See, but if they went for a rated R version, they could establish that, and that would have been their brand.
And that was what sets them apart from the MCU.
Exactly. And okay, so we still don't know who's Spider-Man in this universe yet. We still don't know that.
Yes.
But, obviously there's rumors going around that it is going to be Andrew Garfield, which is what we're hoping. We're going to get Amazing Spider-Man 3.
That would be great.
It would be amazing. However, in No Way Home, Andrew Garfield talked about him not holding his punches and being like not as good Spider-Man, like being a darker Spider-Man.
Yeah, because not holding your punches as Spider-Man, that means murder.
It does mean murder. And I'm telling you, so if he did that, and that would fit so well with a darker Sony universe.
Oh, they could.
Wouldn't it?
They could make it fit.
Oh, bro, it's like, I swear, we need to get like some comic book fans over at Sony and like just fucking tear away all of the people who run production.
Because you do have the fitting pieces to the puzzle.
Oh my God, they do. And they just don't know how to use it. And it's so frustrating.
That's kind of crazy too. Like these people get paid millions of dollars. I mean, I'm sure it is harder than we're making it out to be.
Yes.
For sure. Because there's a lot of ins and outs, little loopholes that you got to go through in Hollywood and all these rights to everything.
Yeah. It's that, but I think like No Way Home proves that if you want to make it happen, it will happen.
Yeah. No Way Home did prove that even though it's very fan serviced, hey, this shit worked though. It was really good.
It fucking worked, man. It worked.
I'm glad you brought up Spider-Man because now let's talk about the end credit scene. Spoiler alert if you must, but I don't think you guys are going to go see this film anyways after the reviews.
Yeah.
So here's the end credit scene. Spider-Man gets brought up.
He does. Not only does he get brought up, but we have a whole MCU villain come over to this universe.
Yes. So here's the end credit scene.
With the events of No Way Home.
With the events of No Way Home. And I think this is also why they delayed the movie. And clearly they added this end credit scene very late to production.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, we see the sky breaking from the multiverse from Spider-Man No Way Home. Like literally exact paste.
Yeah.
Like they just pasted that sky breaking in Morbius. And we see Adrian Toomes, who is Vulture, appear in this empty jail cell. And
in the Sony universe.
In the Sony universe.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, this guy doesn't exist, so
he doesn't even exist in the Sony universe.
So let's take him out of this jail cell.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything in this world to, be considered a criminal. Like he doesn't, so he's wrongly imprisoned. He just like randomly showed up in a cell.
Yes.
Because that's where he was in our universe, in the MCU. And so now Vulture is free in the Sony universe and meets up with.
That's how they end the first end credit scene, which lasted like 30 seconds. I don't know why they made this into two end credit scenes.
Yeah,
they could have just made it one full credit scene.
They could have made it one.
All right, so that's the first one. The second one, we see Morbius drive into like the middle of the desert to meet Vulture. So we see Morbius standing in the desert, and we see this light start to creep up, in the darkness, and it's Vulture with the exact same gear.
Full gear and everything.
From the MCU.
But yeah, I think the lights on his new suit were different, but essentially, like literally the exact same suit. Same. And just left us with so many questions.
So once they meet up, Vulture is like, hey, I don't know how I got here, but I think it has something to do with Spider-Man. Guys like us should team up. And Morbius is just like, intriguing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's intriguing about that? You don't know anything about Spider-Man.
Literally knows nothing about Spider-Man, has no reason to team up with him.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is he? What's his motivation?
Yeah.
He has none.
None. And a lot of people are calling that the best part of the movie. I think that's easily the worst part of the movie.
Dude, it so easily is the worst because it's just so confusing. They're trying to
Bro.
it's like they couldn't pick a lane.
So confusing.
They couldn't pick a lane if they wanted to connect this with the MCU or not.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the entire movie, I'm thinking like, okay, they're done with the MCU, but then they
Yes.
throw this in at the end. I'm like, bro,
Yes.
what the fuck is going on? Like,
What?
so many fucking questions. One, how did he get his suit? Why the fuck is he here now? Because that's not how it worked
Yes.
in No Way Home. It was bringing people to the MCU, not sending them away. I'm fucking,
Well,
where are we at?
Because here's the thing, too. They cut all the Spider-Man references out of Morbius.
Yeah.
So now you have this end credit scene saying that he thinks this might have something to do with Spider-Man. That would have made so much sense to keep those Spider-Man references in the movie now.
Yeah,
Like,
because
that would have made so much sense.
It would have at least addressed that Morbius knew who Spider-Man was and everything, but then now we get this end credit scene and Morbius is like, yeah, it has something to do with Spider-Man.
Yes.
But you don't know who the fuck that is.
Because when we see in the trailer, there's like a poster of Spider-Man or a spray paint of Spider-Man on the wall and it says murderer. So now that gives motivation for Morbius, like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, he's a bad, like, he kills people in this universe. Like,
yeah,
he's a bad dude. Let's team up.
dude. Oh my God, I
Because
swear.
There was also reports that they were going to cut out, basically all references to, Venom and all that, which they didn't do. Honestly, there was a decent amount of references to Venom.
Yeah.
Like the cop, references the events in San Francisco that happened.
Yes.
Where the people died. And then they did leave in the movie where Morbius makes that joke where he's like, I am Venom. So they left that Venom joke in there. They just cut out the second half to it for no reason. So there is acknowledgement that this is a universe,
Yeah.
No,
and I mean,
with Spider-Man villains.
yeah, and it's like, bro, it just keeps begging the question: who is Spider-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Who is Spider-Man, and where is he at?
All right,
with
J. Jonah Jameson.
With all that, bro, with all these events going on,
Yeah.
like where is Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Because the events of Morbius takes place in New York, right?
Yeah.
So that's where Spider-Man lives.
Yeah.
You're telling me he's got killer vampires going on, and he doesn't even fucking bat an eye?
Exactly, bro. There's got to be a Spider-Man.
Is he on vacation?
It makes no sense, or they would cut all those Spider-Man references out just to reference Spider-Man in the end credit scene to make it hella confusing.
I know, and like, how would it make sense if they are gonna use Tom Holland as their Spider-Man?
Oh, it wouldn't at all.
It wouldn't work at all. Like,
No.
how the fuck? Pick a fucking lane, Sony. I swear to God. I can't say it enough.
Not only that, how did Vulture get his suit so quickly? Like, he just appeared in this universe. Where did he get the technology? His first suit was powered from, the alien technology from the events of Avengers.
Yep, you're telling me he found a fucking alternative in this world where there's no Tony Stark, no super advanced tech. Where did it come from?
I mean, I'm sure there's super advanced tech.
If this is Andrew Garfield's universe, there's Oscorp.
Yes.
That's literally the only place he could really go.
And that's what other people might speculate as well, is that, this could be the Vulture suit from Oscorp that we saw in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Did we see?
We did see it when we saw like Harry walking through, or I don't know if it was Harry, but when they were going through that hall. Okay, yeah, but when they were going through that hallway, we did see we saw the Rhino suit.
Yes.
We saw Vulture. We saw Scorpion, I think, maybe. But yeah, so it did show all these highly technologically advanced suits.
Yeah.
But for it to look that similar to the MCU suit is highly unlikely.
Yeah.
They definitely changed it if it is the same suit. That could be the only explanation, is that this is Andrew Garfield's universe.
Because now what, are they putting together the Sinister Six? Because, I mean, we already thought they were going to do that with No Way Home, which that would have made a lot of sense because
they almost did.
They almost did. There was a lot of bad guys in there.
Yeah.
But now what? What are they going to do with this movie now?
I mean, I guess, if this is Andrew Garfield's, we have Rhino, we have Venom,
Yep.
and we have Morbius.
Now Vulture.
And Vulture.
2 more to go.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to work Doc Ock in there somewhere. I mean, he's like a heavy part of Sinister Six.
Yeah.
A lot of people are loving these end credit scenes, and I feel like it's just because they had Adrian Toomes come over from the MCU. It's like, oh, MCU, that makes this good.
Yep. Oh, multiverse.
Yeah, multiverse. It exists. I needed to be reminded of that. But and at the end of the day, it's like, I'm just so confused now.
Yeah.
Like me personally, like I'm a very rational person. I need to have some sense of what's going on and be able to explain it in my head. And now I can't.
Well, now, and here's another theory is Sony has another movie coming out this year, Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. Oh, could this be a way to give us a live action Miles Morales and have that Spider-Man be in this universe?
That is also possible.
There's so many possibilities.
I mean, yeah, it was an animated movie.
Yeah.
But
it is across the multiverse.
What if he goes to a dimension where it's live action?
Yeah. Because as we saw in the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, there was a lot of different, dimensions that really didn't match up to the one that was parallel with.
No, there was. And also, so across the multiverse, in the trailer, we see that the animation style changes from universe to universe.
Yeah.
And so the animation style changes. That could stand a reason that it could go straight from animation to live action.
Yeah.
Which would be a stretch.
That'd
be a very interesting twist.
That'd be a very big swing.
It would be.
That'd be a big swing.
That'd be bold.
It would be.
But, who knows? Sony's... See, but then again, that's a bold move. I feel like that's something Sony wouldn't do because they are doing everything to play it as safe as possible.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they're fucking it up.
But here's also where it gets tricky as well, is that they also hinted at a Miles Morales in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, they did. With, we had Prowler.
Donald Glover.
Played by Donald Glover.
Yep.
He was like, I don't want those guns in this area. I have a nephew who lives here.
Yep.
And as we know, his nephew is Miles Morales.
Yes. Yeah. It was Aaron Davis.
Yes. Yep.
So, I mean, which universe is going to give us the first live action Miles Morales?
I think in this new series of Spider-Man movies that we're going to get from the MCU, I feel like Miles Morales is going to be introduced at some point.
In the MCU?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
especially maybe after
maybe like
this madness of multiverse of madness.
It maybe that, but I feel like it's gonna take a little bit more time. Like maybe.
Well, yeah.
So he's getting three more movie installments, right?
Yes.
Tom Holland.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they are gonna introduce him, it's gonna be in either the second or the third one because Tom Holland will be a little bit older, be able to play that mentor.
Yeah.
A little bit more because he when I look at him, I'm like he's still a kid.
He is.
So it's gonna take some time.
Yeah.
Before he can play that mentor role.
For sure.
And give Miles tips.
Yeah.
And see kind of a similar storyline to what we see in the Spider-Man PS4 and in the Spider-Man PS4
the PS4 game. Yeah.
And also the Miles Morales game.
Yeah. Final thoughts about Morbius.
I feel like people go into Sony with a lot of contempt for the movie before it even happens.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go in there, especially if you go in there with your expectations low, like when you see that 16% rating, it gives you a chance to look for the positives.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there was an opportunity for that with Morbius because it was bad, but not nearly 16% bad.
No.
Bro, a 16% movie, I'm expecting Catwoman bad with Halle Berry.
Okay.
That's how bad I'm expecting when
cringe.
Just absolute cringe where I have a hard time looking at the screen and hearing what they have to say. But, I definitely think this movie did better than a 16%. It was a decent introduction. Plot was pretty solid. CGI was good.
I didn't think it was bad.
I didn't think it was horrible.
It didn't distract me.
No, it didn't. It wasn't to the point where I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
So overall, it was pretty solid. Thought it was better than thought the whole plot and everything was better than Venom 1.
Agreed.
I don't know. I mean, if I were to give it a rating myself, a Rotten Tomato score, I would give it maybe a 45%, 50%.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah. Definitely better than 16%. I mean, once I saw that original Rotten Tomatoes rating before I went and saw it at 17%, I was like, okay. I mean, my bar was already set so low because I'm like, here we go again with another Sony movie. This movie has been delayed 6 times. There's so many things going against this movie.
Yeah.
Already before it even released. So my bar was set very low. And yeah, I was just sitting there in the theater just waiting for a moment to make me cringe. I'm like, it's not coming yet.
It never really came.
No. it did, end pretty abruptly and left us with a lot of questions. So it definitely felt rushed, which a lot of the Sony Marvel movies do feel rushed.
Because they're cut so much.
Yeah, because they're cut so much. But leading up to that point, I'm like, okay, this is moving along pretty fine.
Yeah.
We have our first, second, and third act, which already, beat Venom in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like you said, established characters and really their values.
Definitely established characters better than other Sony productions that we've seen.
The tone kind of could have used work. Like, I know what they were trying to go for, but I feel like it would have been even better if they went more of the horror route with this film.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, score was all over the place, but nothing to where I thought that this movie was a 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
No.
I mean, if you look at IMDb, I think it's over a 5.
Yeah.
And Google users, like 70-something% like the movie.
Yeah. Which, honestly, the Google users thing is always super high. Like,
it is pretty high.
It could be a shit movie and it still says, like, 90% of people like this movie.
Yeah,
I'm like, really?
Yeah. But no, I mean, I didn't think it was the 16%. So I can agree with you on like around like the 40% mark, 45%. Yeah, like around there.
No.
Like you said, when you see a score that low, I'm expecting it to be cringe.
So, to put in layman's terms, not horrible, not great, not even really good. It's fine. It's kind of there.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Like we walked out of that movie and we were both like, I wish that was worse.
Yeah. No, I wish it was more laughably bad because I was expecting to get a good laugh out of it.
We were excited to go see a bad film.
Exactly.
We really were. And we walked out, we were like, God damn it. That didn't meet any of our terrible expectations.
I know. We had our expectations in the wrong spot.
I know.
Oh my God. But yeah, if you guys want to go see it, go see it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a complete waste of your time.
Which, I mean, yeah, you guys probably aren't going to go see it anyways from all the critic reviews.
Yeah.
But it actually hasn't done bad at the box office lately. It did pull in like almost 100 million.
I mean, I feel like any superhero movie can now.
You would think so. But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our take on Morbius. Not a good film, not a bad film, just a fine film.
Yeah.
So if you've seen it,
middle.
If you've seen it, let us know what you think of it in the comments, and we'll see where they go in this Sony Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, it could really go anywhere at this point.
It could. Should be an interesting ride. But we'll catch you next time on Blake's Takes.